What's up, everyone? What's up? Welcome to the Wednesday night live stream. Welcome. So, I've been getting a bit of pushback lately, right? For a lot of my takes, a lot of my views on the Black community. So, I I post a notice. I said, come on, bring it on. Right. I mean, I doubt anyone's going to come on. Right. Which is, it's okay. Usually people don't, during my Wednesday night live stream, people don't come on. It's all good. I can understand. But I mean, if you do have some opposing viewpoints, I'm willing to have a conversation, right? Respectful. I've always said this. I always try to promote a respectful conversation. I'm not trying to disrespect you. It's all about having a conversation, right? It's all about having a conversation. Hey, Zyrax. Hey, I would love it. Please, let's do it. Right? I would love it. I would love to continue what we were talking about last time, right? I would love it. But yes, if you have an opposing view, right? If you disagree with my views on anything, particularly, the Black community, feminism, whatever, here's your chance to let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. I'm down to have a conversation. So, I have a few videos, right? If no one's gonna come on and debate or have a conversation, I have a few videos I want to react to. Before the videos, right? I also want to check out these comments I've been getting, right? So let's do it. I don't know if you could see it, right? But these are comments I've been getting from my videos that I've been posting. So why not? Let's talk about it, right? Why not? Let's address it live. I think that'd be fun.
The Nolan well situation doesn't just apply for Blacks. It applies for Hispanics too. They don't mess with you either, Mija. They don't even like y'all.
So if you don't know, there's a situation, right? Recently, Nolan Wells, a Black kid who was found dead. Before he was found dead, he was hanging out with a group of friends, all white. So now, the new narrative, right? There's always a narrative right now, right? I've said this. This is why I create my channel. It is not to hate on anyone. It is not to, in my opinion, it is not to be sexist, racist, or whatever you want to call me. It is to stop this propaganda, right? So because of this recent Nolan Wells thing, right, where a black kid, after hanging out with his group of white friends, uh, he was found dead. Right, he was found alone. None of his friends were with him, supposedly. Right, all this is still conjecture. Nothing is there's no trial yet, but he was essentially found dead. So the new narrative, right? The new propaganda that online black people are doing is to say, don't have white friends. Don't be the token white black man, right? Don't be the token black man, or else you will end up killed. Oh. If you are the only black man, black friend, right, black person in a group of white people, you will probably end up dead. Huh, okay. That's the narrative, right? So here are some comments, right? Here's some comments. A stupid take. More or you're more likely to be killed by someone in your own community. That's in every demographic, but you just want to deflect. Well, let me play my take, right? Let me play my take.
Look, this case is new. There's not enough detail, right? But if it was found out that his white friends were the cause of his death, I hope that they get the full the full.
I do my smart pack. Yeah, I do. Right, the what is it? The thin red one. I do have it. Something that I found with the smart spray ground bags, they start chipping. Right, the plastic parts of them, they start chipping. So I still have it. It's in okay condition, but yeah. I'm assuming you saw some of my older videos. Yes. What I was saying. Okay.
Full extent of justice, right? I hope they will take like, oh my god, this is what you get for being the token black man in a whole white group, right? And in this one,
see, this is like kind of foolishness, right? Deflect from the fact that we knew what happened just based on the context. Everything is just proving that. You're saying he's more likely to be killed by a black person is just dog whistle to detract from what happened. You could have said you're more likely to be killed by your own community, but you chose to try. See, you chose to try and villainize blacks with a statement, trying to validate them. No. Awesome. That's cool. That's cool that you watch it before you watch my video before you bought one. Now, this is why I kind of stopped buying spray grounds, particularly at certain types of bags. The bags that are like, was it pleather, fake leather? They're not that good, right? They're not that good. They start chipping after a while. I have a few spray ground bags that have like the plastically kind of leather parts, and they start chipping over time. Now, it's not like right away, right? It's going to be a couple years or so you'll get a decent amount of use out of it, but they don't last as long as I wish. But thank you for checking it out and going by the video. So the statement in this one, right, is that I'm trying to deflect that they knew what happened, right? That he was killed, right? More likely killed, right, by a bunch of white people. It's like, again, in the video I said we don't know what happened, so you're assuming, which is that's up to you, right? Now I said it. If he was, I hope that they will be punished to the fullest extent of the law. But it's not a deflecting when I said that it is a stupid statement when you say that, oh, being the token black person in a group of white people, you will be killed, right? You are more likely to be you're likely to be killed, or you should watch out because you could be killed. It's like, that's not deflecting. That's literally talking about the argument where It's not about whether you're a black person with a white friend, bunch of white friends, or you're a black person with a bunch of black friends. It don't make it the race, right? The race of your friends don't necessarily, not really, dictate the chance you're living, right? The chance you will come out of it alive. So I said that yes, you are more likely, and this guy said it too, right? You are more likely to be killed, right, by your own community. So it just shows you that it doesn't matter, right, about the skin tone. It doesn't matter about the skin tone of people you're around, right? It doesn't. That's the thing. It's the character, right? It's the type of people you're surrounded with. So if you're surrounded by a bunch of jerks of white people, or dangerous, or jerk white people, dangerous white people, you'll probably be killed. Same thing if you were with black, but the color of their skin does not determine if they will kill you or not. So it's not really deflecting, and it's not necessarily trying to it's not really trying to villainize, right? Villainize black people. It's to show you that the race doesn't necessarily dictate anything, right? So if you care so much, that's what I'm saying. If you care, tonight I've said this so many times. If you care so much, right, about the black lives, right? So if a black person will get killed with a group of white people, you should also care if a black person will get killed with a group of black people. Uneven outraged, right? That's the thing. It's uneven outrage. This dude is ignorant. You gave no argument to that. What he says is disingenuous as hell. When he says you're more likely to be killed by black person, that's true as a black person due to proximity, right? So every race is more likely to be killed by their own race. But the way he worded it like it's a fact, and it's what and it's not. It's to bastardize back. No, literally, you like this is the. I'm sorry, this is the low IQ, right? This is the low IQ of the people who are trying to I don't know, argue with me, right? In their own statement, they proved like, but the way he words it, it's like it's a fact. You literally agreed, right? Because you said it's a proximity. Well, it's a fact then, right? I'm not trying to, this is the problem where people can't seem to understand, right? They don't listen to understand. They don't listen to comprehend. I'm not trying to bastardize or villainize black people. I'm trying to show you that if you care, right, about the lives of black people, you should care about it consistently, right? You should care about consistently. So if you think that, oh my God, you should be cautious when you are around a group of white people, okay, understandable. Then even out that point of view, you should be cautious also around black people. It's like you can't see. It's like you seem like you can't understand the logic. I explained it, right? All these people think about is per capita when whites commit 2 million more crimes than all races. It's not black on black. It's proximity crimes. Stop. It's like that. See, but here's the thing, right? No. But okay, you said, see, this is the problem with those, so proximity crime, right? Proximity crime. It is true. White people commit crime against white people. Asian people commit crime against Asian people. True. Do you know the rates? See, this is the dishonesty of a lot of people on the left. Do you know the rates? The rates of Asian on Asian crime isn't that high. The rates on black crimes isn't that high. I mean, Asian on white crimes isn't as high as you think. right? Even though, yes, it is true, proximity, right? You are more likely to commit crimes with the people around you. But why would you commit crime at such a high rate? This is why they say that you are 13% of the population, yet you commit about 53% of the crime. It's understandable that you commit crime against the people around you. Why do you commit it at such a high rate? Right? That's the that's the issue. See, that's what people are talking about. Proximity, no duh. But you don't expand on it. You don't expand on it. Why are you such a small population, yet the amount of crime you commit doesn't seem to be equal, seems to be higher. And what I'm saying is that, and again, I've said this before, not all black people commit crimes. That's 100% fact, right? Not all black people. But again, there is unevenness, right? There's an unevenness to it. You gotta, you can't just like, you know, yes, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right? And I'm more saying this, right? I'm not saying that, oh, you should not care when a white person kills a black person or an Asian person kills a black person. That's not my argument, right? That's not the argument I'm trying to push out. I'm saying if you care, if you boycott, if you protest, if you riot, if you're outraged, if you create content, when a white person kills a black person or an Asian person kills a black person, you should 1,000 times more, right? Create content, boycott, riot, whatever, when a black person kills a black person, because you care about black lives. But what my argument is that you don't care about black lives. You care about ideology. That's what you care about. You care about identity politics. What you think is the answer to your question? What I think is the answer to my question, right? My question: why do black people commit such a high amount of crime, right? Even to the proximity. There's a difference. There's a difference. I'm saying this, right? I'm gonna be blunt. Asian people, white people, there's differences is that rules, structure, patriarchy, culture, right? Asian people and white people, they respect and they fear authority. They respect the laws. They respect law and order. Not all. I'm not, again, this is a generalized conversation. I'm not saying every single person, right? The question being, why do blacks commit more crimes when they are the only small yes. Why? It is culture. You are a group, right? Oh, laughing man, stop it. The black community was once a patriarchal community. The patriarchal community, in my opinion, established fear and respect for authority, right? There was culture, right? There was a patriarchal mentality. Now it's a matriarchal mentality. They don't respect law and order. They don't fear nor respect authority. It's highly emotional. A matriarchal community, in my opinion, is an emotional community.
Where's Black Lives Matter now? Do Black Lives matter now? Or do they only matter when the person with them is white? Because y'all don't seem to think Black Lives matter for real. Like, y'all don't care for real. You only care when you think about racism. And I hate when y'all make it sound like Candace Owens, but it's the truth. Like, the cognitive dissonance is insanity. Like, how can you not feel outraged when two people, this man gave his life to do a community work in Compton, gave his life to uplifting the youth, and this is how Compton repaid him. They killed him. And this little girl was on, from what I understand, she was on home from UNLV for the summer. She just finished her first.
Why are they the mostly exonerated? I've never see this is a thing where I've never disagreed by the over policing of the black community. I agree. I 100% agree that the black community is over policed. 100%. Never doubted that. Never disagreed. 100%. I agree. The black community is over policed, right? And when you're over policing, I think that you rush shit. You what should we call it? You don't do things correctly in order. So mess up, you accuse wrongly, you push, you accelerate certain things and make mistakes and just do faulty shit. So you arrest people, and then because you're quick in the process, you're constantly arresting a lot of people. You do shitty work, right? You do shitty work, and a lot of those shitty work is that you falsely imprison people, you falsely arrest people, or you just inaccurately do the process, right? Again, I 100% believe, right, that the black community is over policed. I would definitely be on the side that we should police the black community less. I honestly believe that, honestly, what happens in the black community, that's the black community to handle. The black community does not like a police presence. So I'm all for it, where within the black community, police it should be a no-go zone, right? It shouldn't, right? What happens in the black community happens in there. If black people enter outside of that community, okay, then if there's a 911 call, that's where you do it. Because I think over policing has, not worked. It hasn't worked for the black community. So I don't, again, I don't just, this is the thing where because people think I have certain views, right? Because people think I have certain views, they think I hate black people. Because people think I have certain views about women, they think I hate women. I will say this until my dying breath. I do not hate black people. I do not hate women. All right? Holding people accountable, right, is not the hate of said people. Holding people accountable for their words, their actions, does not equate hate, right? It does not equate hate. This is why I'm really tired of this, right? I love women, right? I'm not a gay person, so whether you think so or not, I ain't gay. I love women, right? I have some amazing women. Hell, Zyrax is an amazing woman, right? Amazing woman, and I just gotten to know her. I don't hate women, so sexist is ridiculous. I had a black baby mama. I've dated mainly black women. Most of my friends throughout my life were black. Or whether you think this is, I don't know, some kind of, he's, I don't know, trying to do something. I don't know what you trying to do. But I'm saying that most of my life I've been a part of the black community. But again, holding people accountable is not the same thing as hating them, right? To be honest, I love the black community. I think the black community is the coolest community around. There's no other cooler community than the black community. I literally did. You said, why are black convicts mostly exonerated? I literally said it, right? It's poor policing over policing. I don't know what you're trying to, I literally answer your question. I mean, I don't know if you're hard of hearing. Because of over policing, right? And poor policing, where when you constantly need to bring in a whole lot of inmates, arrest a whole lot of people to maybe meet a quota or whatever, the processing is you are doing it poorly, right? You're not doing it in order. So a lot of times you miss evidence, you wrongly arrest somebody, a bunch of failed shit, right? So it's poor policing, right? You're not going through the red tape correctly, and you're over policing. You're just trying to get a whole lot of people arrested, right? You're trying to arrest a lot of people to meet some kind of quota, I'm assuming. So again, I'm literally telling you why black convicts are mostly exonerated. It's the over policing and poor policing, right? I don't know. It's like I don't really. I mean, unless you don't like my answer, that's a different thing. But that is my answer, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, my girlfriend right now is Vietnamese, right? But again, I've dated. I mean, like, let's say dated and had girlfriends. I've dated like at least dated and had girlfriends have been at least like 6 or 7 women, right? All black. Out of and like 2 of them, my current one were Vietnamese. So really, the majority of women I've dated, right, my dating history were black, right? No, you know what I'm using? Homicide. A black person killing another black person. That's what I'm using. I'm not using petty theft. I'm not using other shit, right? I'm using, right, proven a black person dying, a black person getting arrested for that death. So that's what I'm using. I'm not including any other statistics, right? It is literally proven, right? Black homicides, right? The amount of black people dying, right? How many black people died from gun violence? How many black people died from gun violence? All right? That's what I'm using. See, this is the whole gotcha shit. You're wrong. You think I'm using certain kind of stats? You're wrong. Because I understand it, right? Certain stats can be misrepresented. I get it, right? Yes, I'm I guess you could call me for the streets, right? I mean, like, I guess it's kind of a pookie shit, right? I admit my flaws. But yes, again, black crime is high, right? Black crime is high. It doesn't mean that, it could be there's some kind of a bit of misrepresentation in it. But again, black on black crimes, right? That is a true thing. I'm not talking about just general thievery or drugs or whatever, right? It's black person killing another black person. That's the stats I'm using. And Butterfly, thank you for, the back and forth. I mean, like, I'm willing to talk about whatever. If you want to, again, if you have for having a view, if you have a view, you should be willing to test your view, right? You should be up to test your logic. I'm always down to test my logic. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've never been afraid to admit when I'm wrong. Never been afraid to admit when I'm wrong, right? And I've been wrong, right? I've been wrong. So I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong.
Here, and as you said, where's the outrage? Where are the marches? Where is the advocacy? Who's out doing vigilante work to kill it? Nobody. Plenty of people know who did this. You know they're going to say nothing because some committed to street code, some committed to hood culture. So we just let ours, the best of ours, be murdered in cold blood by people who look just like them. And we do nothing. We say nothing. We feel nothing. Did you know that black people comprise 13% of the population in this country and commit almost 53% of the murders? And you know who the victims are? People that look just like them. These are the victims. And y'all don't care. You're not moved. You're not moved. It's disgusting. Like, how are you not disturbed? How are you not disturbed? Like, what is going on? What is going on? Like, is this Black Mirror? Like, I feel like I need to like bang my head against the wall. Like, there is no outrage. We act like this is normal. This is not normal. Everybody's not going through this. It's just us. It's just us. And y'all are not angry. You're not angry. It's wild because we can identify refugees in every other community. When you are forced to leave home because of violence and fear of persecution, you are a refugee. And you know that when you grow up in the hood, the goal is to leave. The goal is to get out. That's when you know you've triumphed, is when you get out of the hood. We are refugees. And these people that killed them, they are terrorists. If you live in the hood, you can't go outside of certain places. You can't go to certain places. Certain places are off limits to you in your own community because you could be harmed. That is terrorism. That is domestic terrorism. I don't understand what we're not getting. We act like this is normal. It's not normal. It's not normal. It's not normal to not be able for teenagers to not be able to go out in their own community. Like when I was growing up,
I want to talk about this, right? So here's this comment. First off, we are outraged. Many, God, it's so weird. Many have made that point. No, we haven't. I mean, I'm not saying nobody, But again, this is what people sometimes don't understand the logic I'm pushing out, right? So the amount of press, the amount of influencers, right, content creators that did a piece on, let's say, the Rick Chow incident or boycotting Asian businesses, or the amount of Carmelo, right, videos, right? There should be a million times more, right? Million times more of those kinds of videos when it comes to black on black. It's uneven outrage. No one's saying that no one is saying that there's zero care. No one's saying that there's zero care. It's just uneven. It's uneven, right? It is an uneven amount of outrage. I get it, Homicide. Glad you clarified. So does that mean that white people are the highest statistically in mass shootings? Yes, it does. But again, it is. Here's my thing, right? I don't agree. Yeah, white people are the highest in the statistically in mass shootings, or at least from what I've seen from certain studies. But again, right? You don't see white people being more outraged, right? More outrage relatively when a black person kills a white person. There's not a extremely more outrage, right? It's like I'm talking about the uneven outrage, right? Why do you care about one death more than the other death, right? If you just cared about death, period, right? So if you care about black lives, you should care about black lives consistently. That's my argument, right? That's my point. All right. And white people do make us think about mass shootings, right? I mean, the ones that are, or school shootings. Now, let's say this, right? The whole statistically of mass shootings. The problem with that is a lot of times they don't include gang violence, right? So if you're saying school shootings, yes, 100%. White people make up the majority of school shootings. But if you include gang shootings, which a lot of times drive-bys, you're spraying bullets. So you're more likely to kill multiple people. But again, yeah, I mean, no one. It's like I'm not trying to, like, I don't know any white people in real life, so I'm not trying to stand up for white people. I don't really care. I really don't care about white people. Right? To be honest, I don't. Yeah. So yeah, the first part is like, yeah, the outrage isn't even. Secondly, we have been advocating for a stop to this mess since the 60s. Have you? Because I've seen there's more riots when, let's say, a cop kills a black person, the George Floyd thing, or protesters. Show me how many protesters, right? When it's black on black, it should be 1,000 times more, right? It should be 1,000 times more because that happens more. So where's the advocacy? I don't see that. I mean, like, again, I always admit that my FYP is different than other people. So I don't, I will gladly be proven wrong, but I don't see it on the other side. I don't see the advocacy to stop black on black crimes. I don't really see that. To be honest, I see the defending, right? The whole thing about proximity, you're trying to defend it. You shouldn't, you're trying to defend it. You say, oh, that's why it happens. Who gives a shit why? It shouldn't happen. Third, black people make up 16% of the U.S. population and commits 32% of violent crimes, with 70% of those being against black people due proximity. Okay. Well, then you should care about that a whole lot more, right? Your proximity, you should be caring about what's happening around you a whole lot more than what's happening further away. We make up 53% of arrests, of which 49% are exonerated. It's not true, right? Now, again, the black community do have a here, I'm going to do it, right? ChatGPT. Google it. black people are about 53% of arrests, but only 49% of the exoneration. No, that is not generally accurate statistics. It appears to mix two different data sets. Black Americans account for about 53% of known homicide arrests in recent FBI crime data. This figure is specific to homicide arrests, not all arrests of all crimes. All right, so it's 53% of homicide crimes. That's what I use. Now, the Innocent Projects, right, which is what we're talking about, the exoneration, reports an even higher share among its own cases, right? About 58% of people it has helped free and exonerate black people, but a subset of all exoneration, not in the national total. So it's, again, it's a little bit different kind of data sets to use. There is advocacy to end black on black crime, a lot of it, but it's mainly within the black community and doesn't get as much coverage or exposure. Could be true. But what's the point if you get no exposure? In my opinion, what's the point of it if you get no exposure? In my opinion, right? What's the point? Because you can't spread this message. You're not spreading the message, right? This message you keep within the community, right? Fine. You keep it within the community. Has that solved it? Has that solved the black on black crime? It hasn't, in my opinion, right? It hasn't. Because again, black men, number one cause of death for black men, number one cause of death for black men is another black man. Yo, Artie, what is up? What is up? All right. Number one cause for men ages, well, black boys and men, right? Ages 15 to 34, right? 15 to 34. Number one cause is homicide. Right? Homicide. So, I just think that maybe Artie, thank you. It's a controversial topic, but here's the thing. I'm willing to have a conversation. For all the people who are mad, what is this Asian boy talking about black people? Bring it on. All right? Here's your chance. Here's your opportunity. Here's your opportunity to ask, what's this Asian boy why is this Asian boy talking about the black community? Let's talk about it. Right? Now, I could talk about any other topics too, right? Feminism, whatever, but I've been getting a lot of more backlash for my opinions on the black community. Let's talk about it. Why I talk about the black community more is I care about the black community more, right? I care about the black community more than I do about the white community. I don't really care. To be honest, I care about the black community more than I actually do about Asian community. I don't really care about the Asian community like that. I don't. There's no reason for me to care about the Asian community. I know more black people throughout my life than I do Asian people, right? So hate it, love it, it's up to you, right? And it doesn't mean that I don't, I hate white people or hate Asian people. That's not what I'm doing, right? So please, Okay, well, I was just commenting on okay, let's do this. Should we believe in statistics? Now, could statistics be wrong? Probably. No, I'm not. I've said this, right? Don't believe anything 100%. Don't believe anything 100%. But, right? If you don't believe statistics, then what do you believe? Your own experience? Right? The problem when you do an anecdotal experience, the only thing the anecdotal experience you could say is what you know, right? And what you know, when the population of the U.S. is about 360 million, your personal experience means nothing. I'm sorry, right? So that's a problem. Yeah, I'm not saying that we should 100% believe statistics. You should not 100% believe anything, right? You should not 100% believe me, right? You should not 100% agree with me, 100% agree with statistic, 100% agree with anything. But it's a good basis, right? It's a good basis. That's why with these numbers, let's say the whole 53% of homicide arrests, it could be higher, it could be lower, right? It's an average, right? I never say, oh, that's exact, right? It's not an exact thing. It's not an exact science, in my opinion. Just say it's a, kind of thing. But again, if we don't believe in studies, statistics, surveys, shit like that, what would we believe in? Our personal experience? It's stupid, right? When it comes to personal, there's so many wide ranges of experiences, right? Now, let me say this, right? So if I want to believe personal, right, not statistics, again, I live in the Black community. I talk to, I deal with, I'm around Black people. Never once did I get a Black person come up to me. It's like, the white man did this to me. White cop did this to me. You know what I get? What I do get? My son got into prison. Baby mama issue. Baby daddy issue. My son just got shot. My son died from drugs. That's what I get, right? When I talk to Black mothers. And I talk to a lot of Black mothers, right? So I don't get the whole, the white cop shit, the false, whatever, the exoneration shit. I don't get that, right? I don't get the, boycott Asian people, hate white cops. I don't get that when I'm talking to Black people one-on-one. So, but again, I don't want to skew my view necessarily to personal experience, because then personal experience can be such a drastic difference between people. So, all right. So I saw this on TikTok and I wanted to talk about it. All right. This is a point of view. This is what is it? This channel is Afro. It's called Afro. The channel is called Afro. So let's check it out.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode. We're going to talk about it, right? So come on in. You join this discussion because you. First and foremost, we hope everyone had a safe and enjoyable 4th of July weekend. But while many others were celebrating, others made the conscious decision not to. I mean, what are your thoughts about this? How do you feel about it?
You know what? America celebrated 250 years. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't want to celebrate, that's your business. But how often are we going to complain about America? There's so many countries, 190 plus countries. Find another one and go over there and celebrate what they got going on.
That's your excuse?
That's my reasoning. Because I am just tired of it.
Well, why are you so tired of it?
If you don't like it, just don't be here.
100%. 100%. This is why I want Red Door. What is up, my sister? What is up? This is my problem, where I want to break this propaganda that, a lot of people have, in this case, the Black community, right? Stop hating America. I won't be honest. Stop it. If I could ever break this shackle of the propaganda, right, from the Black community or anyone, 100%, America has an ugly history. 100%. America has an ugly history. Never once have I doubted the ugly history of America. Never once, right? The atrocities America has done to Native Americans, the atrocities Americans have done to minorities, particularly the Black minority, but they've done atrocities to Asian minorities. They've done atrocities, right? 100% they have. But I'm not going to hold America, its people, its spirit, right? Accountable for other Americans, right? I'm not going to make America a monolith in a sense. And in my opinion, right, I don't know if you think it's a good job or not. America has tried its best to right its wrongs. Whether you think it's done a good job or not, that's up to you. But I think it's tried its best. It's continue to try its best, right? It's continuing to try its best. And I believe the heart of America, right? I believe in it. Red Door, Eric, what is up? What is up? So I believe in America now, and I believe in America the future, right? If you still hate America, leave. If you still hold America, if you still hate America because of the past, leave. Find a better place. All right, find a better place, because I'm tired of it too. You are being shackled to the past. There are certain groups of people trying to force you to keep on being shackled to the history. And when you're shackled to the history, you hating America, it doesn't prosper. It doesn't move America to a better place, right? It just continues to divide us, right? Black against white, women against men, right? Democrats against Republicans. When you keep on doing that, we are just divided against each other. So I'd rather you just fucking leave. Just leave. Give me one example of America trying its best. All right? I don't know about you. Slavery, Jim Crow, all this, the ugly history. In 2026, right? America has the most amount of black millionaires and middle class in the world. America has the most amount of black millionaires and black middle class, right? America, right, has pushed and helped the black community have second most political power in America. A black president. We've had a black president. We've had black mayors, black governors, black senators, black police chiefs, black people in power. Right? We have plenty. Maybe you don't think it's enough, but still, we have a lot of black people in power. Right? For such a racist country, there are a lot of black people succeeding more than the rest of the world, right? There are more black people succeeding in America, than in the motherland of Africa. Please put that to thought, right? Black Americans only make up 13% of the population. 13% of the population. But there are more successful black people here, right? Per capita here than the continent of Africa. Think about that. Spider, what is up?
What's up, BA? Can you hear me okay?
I could. What's up, my brother?
All right, what's going on, man? Just wanted to come up here and kind of push back on some of the stuff that you're saying.
I love it. I wonder, I always respect people with different point of views, opposing opinions. Please test my logic. I'm always down for a respectful conversation. What's up, my brother?
Yeah, I just talking mainly about this hatred or dislike for America in general.
Okay.
And I'm Native American myself.
Native American. Okay.
Yeah, I'm from my family's from the Cochiti tribe, from the Pueblos, and we're Navajo as well, and we're also Lakota from South
Amazing.
Dakota. So, our views of America, right? We have a lot of. I grew up with a very anti-American perspective, you could say, and it's not that like there's like this hatred for like the spirit of America, right? It's this hatred for the government and the systems that have been put in place or have been built basically on top of us.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't just been built on top of us Native Americans. Those same systems were built on top of Black Americans as well. So I feel very strongly about like the Black experience in America, and uh, to me it's very similar to the Native American experience in America.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You know,
Uh-huh.
the government has screwed us both over, and I listened in when you had debated Iraq a few weeks ago, and
Mm-hmm.
one thing that you said was that history shouldn't matter that much, or history shouldn't be that important. And that's
Well, let me wait.
easy.
Let me
Go ahead, go ahead.
clarify it a little bit, right? I think history is important in the way that you should learn from it. Right? You should learn from it. So you won't repeat it. But when I say history doesn't matter that much, what I mean is that you shouldn't be shackled to history. So what I want to say that, right? I respect you, Native American. It's like I've said this a little while ago. I 100% agree. America has an ugly history, right? Ugly history. But let me say this: what has hating America done for the Black community or even the Native community? What has it done? Right? The continuation of that hate for the government or hate for whatever you want to say. Has that improved the lives of Native Americans or even the Black community? In my opinion, it hasn't. Right? So that's where I say the shackling to the history. So you can't, in my opinion, right? You can't succeed because you are blinded by rage. I'm just saying metaphorically or whatever. Is that you're just blinded by rage? You're blinded for hate of the system, right? So you can't, in a way, take advantage or make the system work for you. So I don't disagree. All right, the history is ugly. But when I look at Native American and Black communities, maybe it's not a one-to-one comparison, but I look at it through the immigrant lens, right? I look at it through the immigrant lens. Why? Why do immigrant communities, right, in general, not every single immigrant community, but in general, the immigrant community has in 2026, in either 1 to 2 generation, have now outpace the white community in general. I believe it's that because the immigrant community is not hold on to the history. They're not shackled to the history. So it's not, I believe that shackling is holding people back. It's the motivation, the lack of motivation, lack of a drive, right? And because of that lack of drive, you can't achieve better. So in when I see the Asian community, they have that drive. So they're pushed past even the white community, even though they make a small percent, right? The Asian community doesn't like necessarily outpopulate the Native American community, but they outpace, right, per capita. They're doing better educationally. They're doing better, individual and family income compared to white people, right? So I just, again, like I said, I could say that not necessarily 1-to-1, but it's like some correlation. So in my view, right, where I look at it is that I'm promoting, I think better for most communities is to not be shackled, right, by the history, right? You learn from it, so you don't repeat it. But if you're constantly angry about it, constantly shackled to it, you are doomed because of it. So
Oh well, I mean, well, I agree that hatred or dislike for the American government hasn't done anything to better the Black or Native American communities. Embracing the American system also didn't do anything to better us, because the thing is, the difference between
but have they do you say that? I mean, I don't know nothing about the Native community. So
well, one thing,
show my ignorance,
one,
but I would say the Black community that has embraced the American, there are Black millionaires, Black success, Black presidents, Black senators. I mean, like people that I would believe that hasn't been 100% shackled, right? They surpassed, the struggles. So,
Well, yeah, there's of course there's going to be people, you know, who do overcome the odds, right? Because when you're born into, um, not necessarily everywhere, but certain Native American communities in this country and certain Black communities in this country, you're born into a disadvantage. And despite what, you know, yeah, you can say, oh, well, everybody has equal opportunities. But, you know, one thing with history, right, is there's generational trauma. And when you're born into certain communities that have a lot of generational trauma throughout, you're born into a disadvantage. And it is hard to overcome that. I come from a community like that. I come from a family like that, where there's a lot of, um, generational addiction, you know,
mm,
and alcoholism and poverty. And it's hard to get out of that. I've been able to, but I mean, even now, right? Like there are people who, I mean, I have a lot of, most of my friends are Asian, Southeast Asian.
mhm,
They do, they tend to do better than I do economically. Um, and a lot of that comes from this yeah, generational problem. Now, I'm not trying to use that as an excuse for people doing bad, right? But the
mhm,
thing to
mhm.
understand is that with immigrants, the
Yeah,
immigrants didn't have this. There hasn't been policy built to suppress immigrants. Um, Not in recent history, anyway. The Black and Native American communities have historically had policies built into the government to keep us suppressed. And while, yeah, you know, the '60s and the civil rights movement and stuff like that did do away with a lot of those policies, it didn't get us out of the hole that we were put in due to those policies, right? Last time when you were debating with Zyrak, you had brought up the Jim Crow era.
mhm,
And one thing about the Jim Crow era and and the some of the policies that were uh, passed during that time, one of them was um, convict leasing.
mhm,
And convict leasing was since slavery was abolished at that point. Convict leasing was a way to keep um, people basically enslaved because the 13th Amendment that got rid of slavery said basically says, you know, well, you can still be a slave as long as you're incarcerated. And so this is where like the mass incarceration of Black Americans really began, and Black men, and that created a lot of um, single parent households where Black women had to take the lead at that point.
mm,
And so that was a policy that was built. Um, you know, it's debatable whether or not we could say it was built to suppress the Black community, but it certainly did suppress the Black community. And following that, right, just shortly after that, for the Native American community, there was the Dawes General Allotment Act, which basically shrunk the size of our reservations and said toward anybody that wasn't a married man between the ages of 18 and I believe it was 50 that you can't have land. And so if you can't, like, because the Dawes General Allotment Act gave us certain plots of land on the reservations that were going to be ours, like our own property, but it was only going to be for married men between like the ages of like 18 and 50 or something like that. And so it left a lot of people landless, you could say. And what the government did with that extra land was sell it off. That suppressed Native Americans. Again, going into the 1930s, a little later on, with the New Deal policies. Um, the New Deal policies, while in general they did well for the American populace, they still kept Black and Native Americans suppressed because they kept us all at the lowest tier of society, you could say. There were certain jobs we couldn't get, certain places we couldn't move to. And it wasn't, people always talk about redlining just for Black Americans, but it was basically the same for Native Americans as well.
mhm, mhm,
But the New Deal policies really ended up hurting both Black Americans and Native Americans. At the time, it was better than Black Americans had ever done. But when America started offshoring labor, when um, industrial jobs became more, started using more automation and stuff like that, it ended up getting a lot of Black Americans who were stuck in those lower hard labor jobs ended up becoming jobless. Another thing was there was an agricultural act that was passed um, during that same time with the New Deal policies that got rid of a lot of um, Black agricultural jobs. Something like, I believe it was like almost a million Blacks in the South who were working agricultural work lost their jobs. So we start seeing this trend of Black unemployment. Native Americans, we always had unemployment because there's just no jobs on reservations anyway. But these things,
Are
right?
Native Americans
They,
not allowed out of reservations?
oh, you have to understand if you look at a map where reservations are,
Uh huh.
we're so far out. Usually, most reservations are so far out of the way that, especially during the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, and even 1970s, not many people who were born on reservations were leaving because of the fact that how were you going to leave? You were poor, you didn't have anything, and you a lot of people had nowhere else to go, and it was it made it difficult to leave. Of course, we were able to leave, right? My grandfather actually did leave. He was
Mm,
born on a reservation, and he actually did leave, but he
okay.
left because his brothers joined the military, and that was
Mm,
like the only way out for a lot of Native Americans on reservations,
mm-hmm.
right? And his brothers came out to California and helped the rest of the family come out to California.
Mm,
Um, but for a lot of Native Americans, especially at that time, it was just really hard to leave the reservations because, I mean, it's like if you're living in poverty, right? You can't just up and leave where you're at. A lot of people say that like it's easy to do, but it's not, right? When you don't got money to move somewhere, you just how are you gonna move somewhere?
mm,
But my whole point being that systemically over the past 100 years, especially all the way up into like the 1960s, there were policies that were passed to suppress whether or not they were passed to suppress, they did suppress both the Native American and Black American community. And the 60s, right? My mom was born in the 60s. So my mom was born into that, and I'm sure a lot of other people's parents or grandparents were born into that. That generational uh, trauma or generational poverty or these generational problems, they just don't end in one generation time for a lot of people. So that's why you see a lot of things the way they are right now. And so that's why the history, you could say you shouldn't be shackled to the history. It's hard not to be shackled to the history when the history is still very recent for us.
Here, I mean, respectfully, I love what you said. Right. Thank you for educating me. Thank you for talking. Right. Thank you for coming up. Now, like Red Zyrex was said, what does it mean to be shackled to history? Right. So I never discount generational trauma, right? I said this plenty of times, right? I experienced it with let's say my last baby mama, right? My last baby mama. As terrible as it sounds, it's a pookie. It sounds like I'm a pookie. My ex was a black woman, right? But I didn't realize this generational trauma thing. So her grandma was a single mother. Her mom is a single mother. If I should have seen it, right? She probably would have been a single mother as well. The generational trauma thing. But on this channel, if you are a first time watcher, I've said this before. The what I put above everything else, accountability, right? Accountability, everything, right? Accountability is number one. You control you. You control your life, right? To the most extent. So when hearing Spider talk, what he talks about, again, I don't discredit the history. I've said it. The history is ugly. The history does matter. But what I mean is shackled is that the history matters the most, right? So why I say when it comes to the Asian community, it's 1 to 2 generation Asian community has outpaced, right, the white community. And let's be honest, right? I looked through the stats. Yes, some of the Asian people that came to America, H-1B visa, right? They found, highly educated or high middle class Asian people. I don't discount that, right? But that isn't the majority, right? That isn't the majority of Asian people has come to America. Guess what the majority is, right? The majority of Asian people that came to America is family sponsored Asian people, right? So you knew someone in America already who sponsors you. So they help you bring over. And usually those are low income Asian people. So this is why I want the unity, right? I want the unity within our community, right? Within our minority communities. I could agree that it's not necessarily one-to-one, but there is some ideas we could take. Asian people also live in these red line communities or these poverty communities, right? A lot of Asian people don't come here rich. They don't come here rich. They don't come here highly educated, right? They come here lower class. So what they do is that they're living together, right? My family started out living with, my mom came here, started living with my aunt. She worked hard, it's like, I don't know how the Native American community does it, but again, she was a nail tech. Nail techs mean nothing, right? My mom also, a lot of Asian people, they weren't working, doctor jobs, finance jobs, engineering jobs, right? They're working very low pay jobs, right? But the thing is that we did it as a community. We did it as a family, right? We did it as helping out each other. So yes, the immigrants that came here didn't suffer from the generational traumas, but again, we all had our problems, right? A lot of the Asian people that came here, they barely had paychecks, and the paycheck they had to send it back to their old country, right? To support other people, so they made even less. But it's still, we help out each other, right? We help out each other. So this is a thing where the Asian ingenuity, the Asian spirit, we took advantage of America to better ourselves, right? And this is where the shackle holds, right? Is that if you believe you can't make it, and if you don't think of ways to make it, then yes, you will be shackled to the history. You will think that you can't make it because of the history. Hell, I don't know why majority of Native Americans didn't join the military. I'm not saying they should or not, but it's like, whatever way you can make it, you should try to make it, right? But I think a lot of times when you hate America or when you hate the government, you don't want to participate in the system, right? You don't want to participate in the system. So I know I'm not saying everyone, but I know a lot of black people who hate America, who hate the system, who hate capitalism, whatever. They don't want to participate on how to better their life. Yet, in the same token, they say they can't better their life because of America, right? A lot of Asian people, maybe I'm doing terrible secrets, but we do workarounds where we are trying to take advantage of the system, right? So trying to make ourselves better. And the thing is that a lot of Asian parents is that they don't care about themselves. They care about their children, right? So even if they're poor, they will work 1,000 times harder so their children can get that education, the doctor, the lawyer, the engineer, the accountant, whatever. So that one generation, right, the next generation can improve, right? So I don't know if Native Americans did it. So I don't know, but I know black people could do it, where they put all their energy into their children so their children can get that education, right? And become that better, the next generation that breaks that shackle, break those generational curses, right? There are plenty of black families that do that, right? The problem is not enough do it, right? So what I'm saying, I don't know if this applies, if it applies to Native Americans, but I pretty much know zero about Native American, but I do know more about the black community. Love it or hate it, I do. Where to break generational curses, you have to do specific things, right? And one of that things is either get an education or make money. And if you get the education, you can probably make that money. And if you want to get that education, you have to participate in the American system, right? That's the thing. So what I say is that the shackle is that we may hold ourselves back because we have that hatred or fear or whatever. So That's what I say is that I want to say these things just to break this propaganda. I don't disagree about the past, right? The past is ugly. But again, 1980s and forward, I think we could have made those changes, right? My mom, right, came here, in the 70s, right? So through hard work, right? My grandma was here, from my dad's side in the 70s, right? In the 60s and stuff like that. So I do know plenty of immigrants or even, native born minorities that have broke those shackles, right? Surpassed. So if it's not impossible, that means it can happen, right? Well, what makes it the determined factor that it doesn't happen for you, or I'm not talking about you particular, but for any one particular minority, is the mindset, right? It's the mindset. If you think you can't make it, you already have lost, right? And that's the thing where that's what I'm trying to push against, right? That's my main thing. You hate the white man, you hate the government, fine. But has that better your life, right? I rather I don't hate you. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to use this. Right? I'm going to use the system. This is what a lot of immigrants do. Why do you think one of the most popular country to immigrate to, America, it's constantly minorities of so many other countries want to come to America. And yet the people that lives in America hate America or hate its system or hate its government, while other minorities want so badly, right, to come to America. It's because they're not hold to that generational curse, which is, I don't disagree to that, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe people should try to break that generational curse in your mind, right? And it's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to make it work, right? So, in my opinion, I mean, whether you believe it or not, I already think that Black people, maybe even Native Americans, they already had a head start. Maybe not like decades of head start like white people did, but they had a head start before immigrants did, in my opinion. So, at the very least, Native Americans and Black people had a head start before immigrants, right? Minority immigrants. So I'm not saying it's a drastic head start. I'm not saying it's a whatever head start, but it's a head start. And yet, even with a small amount of head start, hell, even white people have a larger head start. Like I said, Asian people in general are outpacing white people. So this is why this Asian person is talking about the Black community. Maybe it's worth listening to. Just my opinion.
Well, I definitely agree with individual accountability, but the thing to understand is that individual accountability does not fix community, right? I myself, right, I come from a family with a lot of generational addiction. My mom used to drink a lot while I was growing up. My dad took off when I was 3 years old. My grandma was a bad dope addict. My auntie was a bad dope addict. And even my cousins, right? My cousins, they couldn't break that cycle and they have addiction problems. I myself, as an individual, chose not to take that path. I got into a lot of trouble growing up, because that's just being a product of your environment, which happens too, but I chose not to follow that path of addiction. I never did any type of drug or anything like that because I didn't like what it looked like. You know what I mean?
I
But
love it.
as you can see, me as an individual doing that, I didn't save my family, right? It didn't save my cousins, and it didn't save my community.
Mhm.
Individual accountability only goes so far,
But
and that
you gotta look at that, right? None of the people around you took accountability, right? Again, I'm not saying that you should save them, but at the end of the day, you gotta think about this, right? This is why the mentality difference, right? So if you take accountability and then you produce the next generation that takes accountability, you can break that cycle, right? That's the point, right? We need more people to take accountability. So if as for me, it's like how I'm not pointing to your family. I'm just talking about in general. My father was an alcoholic, right? My father's an alcoholic. He was a heavy smoker, and I looked at it where I didn't want to be like that, right? I don't drink, I don't smoke, right? So at the end of the day, it's that. I mean, see, this is the thing where I say accountability, because all you can do is control yourself, right? That's all you can do. But hopefully, when you control yourself, you can create the next generation that can control themselves, right? But the thing is that for me, is like, this is why I don't see. This is the problem where I find it with, again, I try not to go for the native community because I don't know them, but the black community. The problem is that if one black person controls himself, and then another, right? Take accountability, each of them, right? Don't do drugs, don't do violence, don't have baby mamas, baby daddies, right? And if that continues, that only adds, right, to the breaking of the cycle, right? At the end of the day, you can't control your neighbors doing it. But the problem is that even if you can't control your neighbors, you can't then start blaming the white man, right? You can't start blaming the system, right? Because at the end of the day, there comes a point in time where we have to take control of our own lives. This is why I say we're shackled, right? No, stop blaming the white man. Stop blaming the system. Blame yourself. Because when my girlfriend was a shitty girlfriend and destroyed my heart, I had to learn to not blame her and just blame myself. I chose wrong, right? I allowed the bad treatment, because me blaming her does not improve myself, does not do shit for me. It doesn't change anything. So what helped me out is that, you know what? I took accountability. That is what I'm promoting, right? Although I'm a small time creator, I'm no one special. But if I can impart anything on anyone, is be accountable for your own actions. That's it. If you care about the white man, you care about the government, it does justice. It doesn't help you out. So if you take accountability, you improve your life. But imagine this, right? If you improve your life, you can be a beacon for the next person, right? And you could definitely be a beacon for your own child. So if you be an amazing person, marry an amazing woman, or even if you're a woman, marry an amazing man, you create the next generation. That's how we break the cycle, or we try our best to break our cycle, because no one of us is, I don't know, so important that we can destroy it, that we can destroy the chains, but we have to at least do it ourselves within our own lives, right? I don't blame nobody for my life but myself. And I learned that because, again, that's how I break a cycle of anything, right? How I break a cycle of, not being like my shitty dad, because I'm just going to focus on myself. I'm not going to focus on what, things I can't control. So
I definitely understand that, but again, I think this is a matter of perspective and the opinion. A lot of Americans, right, have this wildly individualistic view of things, and that's not how I view things. That's not generally how Native Americans view things, right? Because our communities need help. As individuals, right, we can only do so much for our community. And like I've seen it with my own eyes, right? I could say that, yeah, my cousin didn't take accountability for themselves or for their own actions, but my cousins needed help. We all grew up in a real shitty situation, right? And nobody was there to give us help, especially young people. Young people, we could say as adults, right? As me, as a grown man, yeah, I'm accountable for my own actions. From here on out, from the time I was um, a mature adult, you know, um, I can only blame myself. But when you're a child and you live in a community where the education system is fucked up, right? Because I grew up, teachers didn't care. When I started doing bad in school in like sixth and seventh grade, my teachers, nobody reached out to help me. The teachers were just like, well, you're going to be a failure. And aside from that, because I didn't grow up on a reservation. I grew up in a city. And so in the community I grew up in, heavily policed. First time I got harassed when I was like 8 years old. Police don't care. They just, you know, cause us more stress and more problems. Teachers don't care, and this because our communities, our schools are underfunded, and um,
did your
there's a
did your
lot of
parents care?
systemic problems. What was
Did your
that?
parents care?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Did your parents care?
My parents. Well, my dad wasn't
Or
even in the house,
your dad wasn't in the
and
house, and then your mom was
no, and
yes.
and Yeah, my mom was busy partying. Um, but
See,
the thing is, you know,
that's hard.
like a lot of people in not just the Native American community, but you see it in the Black community. You see it in the Chicano community as well, the Mexican American community as well. Um, where, yeah, I mean, because there is a systemic problem here. Our communities are, our schools are underfunded, so the teachers don't give a damn about it. And then when we have problems at home from our own parents, by the time we're 13 years old, a lot of us are in gangs already. You know, I
No.
was already running the streets at 13, 14 years old. You can't tell a 13-year-old, hey, you need to take accountability for yourself because that's a kid still. And a
Here,
lot of times, by the time that people become adults, a lot of times it's too late. I have a lot of friends that they went to prison at 14, 15, 16 years old and that ruined their life because by the time they got out, if they ever got out, they're 25, 30, and you know that really destroyed their life. It set them back far, and then they come out and it's really hard to bounce back from that. And this happens a lot in the Black community, in the Native American community, and even in a lot of, even in, you know, some Asian communities as well. Most of my friends are Cambodian, and I see it a lot in the Cambodian community as well.
here,
And this is because our communities on a whole need um need help. And who should help us? You could say individuals should do it, right? But individuals can't save a whole community. There are
but,
systemic issues here that the government should be fixing.
no, here's the thing where when I listened to your story, right, it got me thinking that what I mean, if the government helps, great. Before that, I want to say this, right? Butterfly Goddess said, should the police take accountability for their wrongs? 100%. For their wrong actions, 100%. I mean, sadly, are they always? Not always, right? The government or courts should hold them accountable. I'm for holding police accountable for wrong actions, right? But here's my thing where uh, I come from a poverty community, right? I've my mom wasn't wealthy. I've my family lived in a car, right? So I've experienced poverty. The, the difference is, right? The difference is when we talk about individual, right? I still think that the Asian community is a community, right? Where my mom did not do drugs or drink or whatever, right? She focused on bettering her kids' lives. And also with the help of her aunt, with my aunt, right? With her sisters, with the community, right? Because my mom, like, she worked hard. She borrowed money from other Asian people. She like my mom hustled. She worked hard. So at the end of the day, right? When you already have parents that I mean again, right? Asian people were also like the Cambodians or whatever, were also going to those poverty schools, right? Plenty of Asian people were still going to the schools. The problem is with the parents. The problem with the parents where if you have shitty parents, a lot of times you're already starting off on a terrible foot, right? So it's hard to say that the government should step in and change that because honestly, even if you go to a good school and then your mom is shitty, your dad is shitty, it's like like the likelihood of you succeeding is also very low. So this is why I say it takes the accountability part is that as again, I want to say this, life is hard for everyone, right? Uh and life it will be unfair for a lot. So I don't want to sound cruel, but it's it's unfair for some. So when I say the individual is that or the individual accountability is that I'm sorry if you grew up terrible, but you have to make that change, right? Where now you need to be that pillar, right? So you need to make that change where you will be a good father. You will pick someone who will be a good mother to your children, who will be a good wife. Where now you will produce better kids, and you will be helping out other people in your community. Because sadly, right, it's just I mean, for me, it's like it takes someone to break that cycle, right? It has to take someone to break that cycle. It has to take someone to be the beacon for the community, right? So I don't know what to I don't know what to say. That if again it goes back to if we can't move on from the hardship, we will always be stuck in it. Right? Life is hard for everyone. I don't know.
Well, this kind of also, talking about the beacon for the community. Yeah, communities do need a beacon, and if the government isn't going to, doesn't want to help with, um, at least giving our communities proper funding so we can do better, then, um, we've seen in the past, especially with the Black community, right? The Black Panthers, they get a bad rap, but the Black Panthers started as a beacon for the community. They were given free lunches, they were given free education, they were doing a lot of really great things for the Black community, and then the government demonized them and, you know, shut them down effectively. And the same thing with Native American community. We still have the American Indian movement, right? And the American Indian movement started very similar to, the Black Panthers, right? It was about, being a beacon for the Native American community, the same way that Brown Berets started for the Latino community. Um, and the government doesn't doesn't allow these things to happen because, one thing, especially in under the capitalist system, right, is that, we're expected to do things a certain way, and, um, when we go outside of that norm or outside of those lines, then the government wants to shut us down. And when the government started effectively shutting down, going after the Black Panthers or the American Indian movement or even the Brown Berets, what happened? We pushed back, and then we become considered like a terrorist organization or something. And then they shut us down because now we're criminals and shit. When initially we started just to better our community, and so this has happened in, again, the Black community, Native American community, Latino community, where we try to, as a community, come together for the better of our communities, and then we get shut down by the government. So if the government doesn't want to help our communities, and then they're going to shut down any effort that we do to help our communities, they screw us over. And this is where I talk about that suppression. You know,
My I mean I'm not I don't doubt history, right? But I'm thinking about like in my view, the Asian community don't rely on the government necessarily, right? I mean, there's some doing, I don't know. There probably some doing. I mean, when I was a kid, right? My mom did do welfare and shit like that. So yes, but I mean, in general, the Asian community don't rely on the government. They don't even interact with the government. They try not to. So, in my opinion, even if I don't even recommend any community to rely on the government because at the end of the day, I think the government is useless. So at the end of the day, that is not a path to success, right? In my opinion, what I've seen again, I'm not saying I know it clearly, right? I was growing up as a kid, but what I've seen is that Asian people help out each other, right? They in my when I was growing up, my mom she got money from other people to create businesses, and then she put money into a system within the community so other people can create businesses, right? So that's the thing where, or you create, you know, um, you know, supermarkets or um, whatever, right? It's like this is the thing where I think that's the flaw of a lot of communities where you hate the government, yet you also hope the government will bail you out. I think that's a flawed way of thinking in the sense that I agree. I don't think the government cares like that, right? I never thought the government cares about its people like that, right? I'm not, the only thing why I'm even on conservative or the right is that I wish for less government, right? I wish for less government control, right? I don't want the government to be all in our system, all in our business. So I want less governmental power, right? I want less tax. I want less government. So that is one of the reasons why I would even be a part of the right or conservative or Republican in a way, because I want less of it. If I can get less government, that is better, right? So I just feel like we should focus on ourselves and help out each other, right? Because I think
Well,
that's the way to go.
that goes back to my point. When we tried that, right? The Black Panthers, what were the Black Panthers? They were going outside of the government, around the government to help the black community. And the government stepped in to shut them down.
Well, my
Same thing
problem with
with
the
the
Black
American
Panther is
Indian.
because they become publicized, right? They become a public figure, right? And
Well,
I think
of
that's the
course. I
problem,
mean,
right? And
but
I don't disagree.
how do you
I
keep
don't.
something like that from becoming a public figure? You know, the Asian community, you know, like I said, I grew up around a ton of Southeast Asians. I grew up in a primarily Southeast Asian neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so mostly Cambodian, but you know, one of my best friends is Vietnamese. Um, and so, you know, I've seen the way that the Asian community does it. And yeah, it is very self-sufficient. But that's
Yeah.
also there that it's different because it's certainly a cultural thing with the Asian community.
Yeah.
Um, Asian community is very self-sufficient, and they came over here with that mindset already. You know,
Yeah.
because I mean, Southeast Asians had to be self-sufficient back in their home countries. So when they
Yeah.
came here, they already had that. The difference is like, especially with the black community, right? That wasn't the case because Black American culture is something that developed here in America, starting
Uh,
with slavery. So it's something that just developed over time. And so, yeah, the Southeast Asian community, it has that cultural difference there. Native Americans, on the other hand, our cultures were completely destroyed for the most part by the American government. And what we have now is more of like I mean, certain tribes still have their culture and traditions, but overall, like there's like a pan Native American culture that really just takes the form of like powwow community and stuff.
yeah.
So it is different. The Asian community, they can really, you know, do take care of themselves. I've seen that, you know, and that is something that is a little different than the black community and the Native American.
I mean, this is kind of why hell, to be honest, I mean, some people may hate me and think I'm racist, but I wish more minorities would join the Asian community, right? With love, right? I wish, and this maybe sounds cocky, right? This may sound cocky. I wish the Black community, Native American, Hispanic, whatever, right, would actually mirror the Asian community, would actually look towards the Asian community for guidance. Again, you may hate it, may sound like I'm cocky, but it's that I think, the years that they were doing it, it has to succeed for them, right? So again, it's just a personal idea, right? So I'm not saying that what happens, but it's like that's my point of view. That I wish I think the Asian community opens arms to other communities, and but the other communities just don't desire it, and I think it would be a benefit for most communities to actually join the Asian community in for guidance and for to mirror the community.
I definitely like because you know the Cambodian community has been one of the most welcoming communities I've ever been exposed to. Like
I
my
love them.
Cambodian friends, their families, you know, they have all brought me in like family and treat me like family. Super welcoming, super
Mm,
loving, you know, and it especially the Cambodian community because it really like that lovingness, that welcomeness. It definitely
mm,
reminds me of the way the Native American community is. We are very welcoming and loving people as well. Um, the only thing is, of course, it's hard to just say,
yeah,
you
I
know,
know.
you should
Yeah,
mirror, you know, the Asian community. It'd be
it's
it'd be
wishful
great, right? If
thinking.
we're
It's wishful
yeah,
thinking.
it'd be great if we could all be that self sufficient. But it's definitely a cultural thing that Asian people are
Yeah,
raised with, and that goes back generations. You know,
yeah. Again, yeah, I know it's my wishful thinking. Because again, I love the Black community, and besides you, I also know Red Door. I have mad respect for Native American community. I want the better. I want better for them, right? So and in my opinion, yes, I see the two communities that would probably hate America the most, or dislike the government or the history, right? I I, I want I want better. I want something different, right? I want Native American and Black Americans to succeed. I just, in my views, is that again, I said this, the shackle to the history, being right. What I've seen, right, of current history, it's not working, right? How the path that Black Americans are going, it's not working for them in general, right? Of course, there's Black success, but in general, if you're still complaining about racism, if you're still complaining about the system, if you're still complaining about the white man, then the path you're going on hasn't been working for you, right? So that's why I say the things I say, because I want to break this propaganda that some communities have. You complain about the system, you complain about America, about the white man, about white supremacy. It's not working for you. It's not, right? I'm sorry. I'll be blunt with anyone and everyone. It's not working for you in general. It's not working for your community, right? So we need something different. We need to inject something different, a different ideology. So, but Spider, thank you for I love the discourse. Thank you for coming up. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. My I got for some reason I cut off.
It's all good. Any other words, or any other words, my brother?
Um, really, that's about it. I think
I love the
talking about
discourse.
like the hatred for the American government and stuff like that. Um, yeah, the hatred itself. I mean, any type of hatred in
Yeah.
general is not productive, right? Hatred is it's negative, so it's never going to be productive.
How is your life
But
going?
it's
How is your life going?
my great. I mean, you
Okay. I
know,
mean,
um,
how old are you?
I'm pushing 40.
Pushing 40, bro.
Yeah.
We okay, so we are brothers. We are brothers. I'm a 42 old man, so I love it. I love the old heads in here. All right.
Yeah, I think people in our age range, we have a good perspective on things because we've already
Mm,
been through a lot. We've
yes.
lived a lot of life, and
Yes,
I think
yes.
that's also a bit of the problem too. Is that young people they haven't and they haven't experienced as much, and so they
Mhm.
don't have that perspective to look back and be like,
Correct.
"Damn, I fucked up." And like, because I know when I was young, I've been in a lot of trouble when I was young, and I've been in jail and stuff like that.
Mm,
And
mhm.
you know, it wasn't until I had kids that made me realize, hey, I gotta
Yeah.
change. I gotta be accountable because I can't have my children coming up how I was. And I think that's a big issue because young people who do come from broken communities, um, they're not going to see things that way. They're not going to have that perspective, which is why
Yeah.
our communities need help. And sure, right? We don't have to rely on the government, um, but like I mean, if the government is there and they're going to stop us from helping ourselves, then they should help us out. Now, if they want to allow us to organize and help ourselves in a meaningful way that benefits us in a cultural way, whether it be for the Native American community or the Black community, right? Then you know, then great, right? Stay out of our hair, stay out of our way. I'm also not big on
Yeah.
government intervention.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
leftist, right? But I'm more on the the libertarian socialist type of leftist,
Okay.
as in like less government oversight, but still like I think um, everybody should have their basic material needs met. That doesn't
Mhm.
have to be from the government, but the
Mm,
government should allow us to do that for ourselves, for our own community.
I do. Yeah, I do
And
agree with that. I do agree with that.
the government, especially when it comes to Native Americans and Black Americans, the government has just stood in our way a lot of the time.
No,
And so if you're gonna stand in our way, either help us or get the hell out of our way.
that I do agree. That I do agree, my brother. I love it. I love it. I mean, you could continue staying on with me to we could react to these videos together. If you still have time, that's cool.
I'm gonna go ahead and hop off, but it was a good
Awesome.
conversation, and
I love it.
I
I love it.
definitely will
Join more
will be
often. Join
interested
more
in.
often.
Yeah, for sure, definitely will, man.
All right. Love it, brother.
All right, thanks for having me up.
All right. Butterfly. I love it. I love it. My sister. Mad respect. Mad respect. Thank you for the pushback, right? I respect everyone and anyone, right? Thank you for the pushback. Let's continue on with the video. Zyrax, if you ever want to come up, we could always continue our conversation that we had last time, right? So if you do want to come up, we can continue our conversation last time. So up to you.
It's just that simple. Back it up and head out. More growth for us and more
I
opportunity.
can't wait till they tell you that. Anywho, so the Declaration of Independence in 1776, when America celebrated its beautiful Independence Day, unfortunately, there were over 500,000 slaves that were still enslaved. So when it says home of the brave and free and this and that, it wasn't free for everybody. So freedom is selective in America. So how can you want people to celebrate a freedom when they were still enslaved? And does anybody
They want you to celebrate your freedom, right? They want you to celebrate the America you're living in right now, not the America you're living that you were never living in 250 years ago. Again, this is the hate I'm talking about, right? These people are ridiculous. It really is, right? This is the hate I'm talking about. This is the shackle I'm talking about. Wake up. You can see one person who loves the country and another person who doesn't. Leave. If you hate the country so much, if you think the history is so bad that you continue to hate, then leave. Just leave.
at this table know what the third stanza in the does anybody know what this third stanza say? Anybody?
I
Okay,
can't
read
recite
it.
it word for word.
Don't worry, I'll read it for you guys. It says, "No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. In the star-spangled banner in triumph we wave." See, to you, is that not crazy that we were still enslaved and they still want you to be so indoctrinated that you forget that your people did not have freedom? I'm never going to forget. And all these people that say it's not that serious, it's not that serious, us right back into slavery. And
Right back into slavery. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. It's this mindset. And this is the problem. This is the problem with people like this. You think that slavery will happen again or could happen again. You think Jim Crow could happen again or will happen again. Leave. Go back to Africa, right? Go. It's like no one is holding you to America. No one is shackling you to a country you hate. Just leave. Because in my opinion, with less people like this that hate the country, the better. I'm sorry. I would love it that only people that love America or respect America or don't have disdain for America should be in America, in my opinion.
Easter, does rabbits lay eggs? Yet in Easter, everybody's over here laying eggs. Santa Claus, is he real? Yet they're telling you there's a correlation between Santa Claus and Jesus. Yeah. Things get indoctrinating you, and the more you say, it ain't that serious, it's just a holiday, until you forget your history, until you forget your word, until you forget how you got here. And guess what? It's not that serious, are we?
What that being said is, that was 1776
and today,
and 50 years ago,
and
also with the Declaration of Independence, the Star Spangled Banner, which came after 1776. We cannot help the times that was in. We fast forward into these times, and if you actually go through and study some of these articles and individuals that are speaking, are we in the absolute best condition that we could be in as the United States? This was an experiment of a country. And so therefore you can't put that all on the country. We have things that we can do to do better.
Oh my God, really? How much are they paying you?
It's just that.
Leave. This is what I'm saying. It's like, I'm sorry. For any Black Americans, any minorities, this is what you think about America. You have the freedom to leave. I'm sorry. Being critical, okay, critiquing, I get it. But this type of hate, this type of viewpoint, You think America will enslave you again? Shut up. Just leave.
You can judge that. I mean, know that. You will not be saved.
The black folks will hang you first.
That's true, but guess what? You won't be on.
That's true. It will be the black person that hangs you first. That's true. Ain't that funny?
Yeah, I bet you that much.
That's fine. I'll be on the one that's coming to bring y'all back.
Well, on a lighter note, let me lighten the load because the load is heavy sitting next to me. For me, it's not even more say celebrating, the 250 years. Really, it's just a barbecue and have a good time with my friends and family. That's it. I don't see it any more than that because at the end of the day, we were given Juneteenth, but that was really a cop out to quiet us. So is there really a celebration? No, other than me just being with family and friends and enjoying being around them.
It's like, again, these are the people who are, this is the problem, right? This is the problem where, imagine this, actual Americans seeing this propaganda, again, right? This is black people controlling their own marketing. So guess how other people see this? You're not American. You're not American. You don't like America. You don't like nothing about America. Fucking leave. Leave. Right? Well, this is the people don't this is the problem, right? Today's age in 2026, who controls black media, right? Who controls the black narrative? Black people. And guess what black people choose to push out? I hate America. America's going to enslave me back. I don't like any American holidays. Right? Then fucking leave. Leave. I don't care. I'm sorry. I'll be blunt. If you're black, like these people, all right, if you're like these people, you can leave. You should leave, right? Because this is the problem that a lot of people don't think. Do you think that any of these people, if as terrible as slavery was, what would your life think? What would you think your life would be if it didn't happen? What would you think? Please. I have never gotten anyone to answer this question, right? What do you think your life would be like, right? Today, if that ugly part of history didn't happen. And let me tell you this, history is ugly almost everywhere you go. Africa has an ugly history. The UK, India, China, Russia, everywhere has an ugly history. But here's, God forbid you hate America. What do you think about the kid that lynched in Mississippi? Kid that lynched in Mississippi? Do you have a name? I didn't hear it. Ethiopia. Kid that was are you talking about blame blame P. Diddy? What Machiavelli, what is up, my brother? Haven't seen you in a while. How you been? In September 15th, 2025, when 21-year-old DeMartravion Reed, a black college student, was found hanging from a tree on the campus of Delta State University, Cleveland, Mississippi. Locals, authorities, and the county official ruled the death a self-deletion, stating there are no evidence of. This is a thing where I don't know what to think. It was deemed a self-deletion. There's no new evidence to counter that. There's no evidence to prompt that it wasn't. Now, let me say this. Self-deletion rate is high in the black community, right? Particularly with black men. It is high. So whether this was foul play or not, it is evident that No, transatlantic slavery. The transatlantic slavery trade was a product of colonialism, early capitalism. If there was no transatlantic slavery, there would have to be no or right. I mean, you could colonize somewhere else. I don't know, right? Um, but yeah, if you didn't have transatlantic slavery, I mean, what do you mean there would be no colonialism? There would still be America, right? I mean, people came here before slavery, right? So I think that I'm saying that, like, if there was no colonialism, there would have certainly been better in Africa and the Americas. Now I don't know if it would be better for Africa because I don't know what, because then we have to assume what would be the advancement, right? Right? What would change? Both of his arms were broken allegedly. Not sure if that's true. Is it? Was his arm broken? However, the case sparked national. No. I googled it. No, Reed did not have both. Did not have broken arms or legs. The claim that he suffered broken limbs originated entirely as unverified rumor on social media. So I'm not going to try to believe that. No, they didn't come here before slavery. People came here because of colonialism. Those are two different things, right? Colonialism and slavery are not necessarily hand in hand, right? So they came like they came here before slavery, right? I mean, that's 100% true. Uh, that's revisionist, right? I'm not saying about you know no colonialism, right? Or settling, right? There was a pilgrimage, right? Uh British people, right? Whatever, settled in America before slavery. That is 100% true. Whether you want to call it colonialism or not, okay. They colonized America. Oh, yeah, but they colonized America before slavery. After that, yes, they added slavery, right? Later on. But I mean, mm, but the Portuguese didn't colonize America, right? Brought the first enslaved Africans to Europe, and I don't think the Pilgrims brought those enslaved Africans from Europe to America. So I don't think those are two. I don't think those are the same thing. So that was before antebellum slavery. I've never heard of that word. Antebellum slavery? That's interesting. Antebellum slavery.
That's really all I take it for. Nothing more, nothing less. Pop a few fireworks, have a great day, and we move on.
The Pilgrims were not the first Europeans in America. Who who colonized America before the Europeans, or before? I'm okay. I know the Portuguese. I know the Spaniards, right? But I mean, the Vikings. Again, we're going deep in the weeds of history, and I'm not a history buff, right? So I only know generalized history. But again, the colonization of America is predominantly by the British, right? The colonization of America is predominantly by the British. So I don't disagree. I know the Spaniards, the Moors, really. Yeah, I know the Spanish Inquisition, but I thought they went more down south, didn't they? But Christopher Columbus didn't enter America. Didn't he go more towards the Mexico area? Right? I'm going into weeds. I'm not a deep history man, so yeah. All I know is that the British were the ones to famously colonize America, right? So that's all I know. Or that's not all I know, but that's the main gist of what I'm going for. Yeah. I know Christopher Columbus came here much earlier, right? His expedition helped pave the way for travelers, for other people to travel this area. He discovered the Western Hemisphere, I believe. But again, I don't think he came into the North America. I think it was, or I think it was more towards the. Interesting. Definitely interesting. Yeah, he paved the way. Oh, the transatlantic slave trade. He entered the Caribbean. Yeah, the Caribbeans. Yes, but yes, he paved the way for people to travel.
So
I think
You guys are smarter than me.
that's
where was I born? Evanston, Illinois. Because but at the same time, guess what? I can speak patois.
But,
So
but you were born in Illinois.
I was born in Illinois.
So
Correct.
Juneteenth was not given to you.
So what do you
oh
mean?
my God.
Let me say something. Stop.
Right.
Stop. Pause. In the words of Dame Dash, pause.
Right.
At the end of the day, Juneteenth was created the other day. Because of what?
I bet you don't know the history. Anywho,
Okay.
moving on, right?
Wow.
Crystal, I think was just an important thing.
It's funny that I'm assuming I don't think these women are FBAs, right? Foundational Black Americans. I'm assuming, right? At least the other one who was given the accent, I don't think she's a foundational Black American. I mean, I agree that it was the start, right? Because Christopher Columbus paved the way, the path to America, right? So I'm not saying that, I don't even know what was the point I made before. All right. Yes, I mean, yes, it helped the colonization of America. Definitely, yeah, I definitely agree to that. I mean, yeah.
That I want to add to that conversation. It's okay to say, you know what, it's a day off because nationally they've made it that way to where that's the only time people usually get off. it's important during those times to talk to the kids and talk to the people about the real history so that we don't erase these days and these moments of why they came to be. I think it's okay to say I'm just going to barbecue, but make sure the people and the kids know.
And this is the thing where this is why FBAs do talk about against people like this, that they try to take over the history of Black people, right? Of foundational Black Americans, right? They're trying to what I just recently learned this, right? FBAs call these Black Americans tethers, right? They're tethers. So they're just using Black history to their own advantage. She looks like a Bratz doll.
Exactly what is going on, so we don't lose this generation.
I don't do any of it anymore. I used to do the fireworks, but I think, like you said, I really didn't growing up put that together until later of learning about my own history. Then I did start putting it together. So wait, it wasn't for us anyway. But if I had to say something nice, I would say, getting free from the UK, from in England, and fighting for their freedom, they were able to fight over you.
Yeah,
that's what I'd say.
Yeah,
and unalive each other. That's what I meant to say. To unalive each other, unalive each other.
Yeah,
over you. And it's the same case all the time. The rules, the regulations, the laws. It's always over you.
Yeah.
Interesting how much focus is on you.
The fuck you talking about? Yes, that's what I've heard. So that's what I've heard. Again, this is ridiculous, right? The American colonies didn't fight Britain over, Black slaves. They fought Britain over not being controlled by Britain.
Wow.
They want to put a price tag back on you.
Well, you're very important, clearly.
Yeah.
Because if you weren't important, if there wasn't something to you, why would anybody spend time thinking about you? I don't think about people that don't matter to me.
Exactly.
But you're on their mind all the time.
Are you not on them?
Yes. All right, what did he say?
Let's move on.
I had to drink a little bit of tea. So in other news, the next story has left a lot of people with more questions than answers. A Mississippi teenager, Nolan Xavier Wells, disappeared.
They're talking about
a boating trip with friends on Horn Island. And while his body has now been found and identified, what has many people talking is that the friends who were with him say they don't remember anything.
What's wrong with this picture?
A lot.
Yeah, that's what this is what a lot of FBAs do have a problem with. They don't share the same history, yet they're essentially stealing it to push their own agenda.
What's wrong? It ain't no kinfolk. I remember going to Florida State University, and during the time that I was there, they used to tell us that, hey, if you are walking anywhere, you have to do a buddy system. You cannot be walking alone, because literally every woman on campus, damn near 1 out of 4 women, were getting sexually assaulted on campus anytime they were caught alone. This reminds me.
That is fucking. That has been debunked.
Anytime a Black person is on the outskirts or they're with their friends, white friends, this story, unfortunately, without me even knowing Nolan's story, I knew the outcome. And that's sad to say. I had already known the outcome. You go out camping with a group of white people, it's one Black person, that Black person ain't making it alive. You go out.
Do you see why I said this in the beginning, right? This is the narrative I wanted to debunk.
NHT.
This is the narrative I want to debunk, right? This is the insanity of the Black community. Okay. This is the problem that you want to debunk. So now you're just pretty much saying that if you're with white people, you're sure to die. So you better watch out. This is the uneven outrage. It's like you are more likely to die if you are with Black people. So it's like this is the insanity that I absolutely hate. This is the propaganda I'm trying to break. Okay. How many, you got to do it. How many black people die when they're surrounded by white people compared to how many black people die when they're surrounded by when black people are surrounded by white people or black people surrounded by black people? How many? Right? It's like, so you don't care when black people are dying, right? Or you barely care when black people are dying in their own community. You do care when they die when they're surrounded by white people. It's pushing the narrative, right? It's pushing your ideology. You see what the type of people these are, right? You see the type of black Americans these people are because they want to push that divide. They want to push that narrative, right? They want to push white people against black people. Instead of, you know what? Stop it. Stop pushing the divide. It should be good versus bad, right? If you're a bad person or a good person, that's the divide that we should talk about. Not a divide by color. This is my problem with this, with the modern day propaganda, right? With this propaganda. Because you obviously don't care about black lives. You don't care about black lives. You don't. Shit like this is proven to me every day. Please, why aren't your stories filled with all the deaths, right? All black deaths from black people? Because that would be a whole lot more. But you don't care. You don't care. This is what I'm saying. The outrage isn't even. Here's a black kind of network, black kind of channel, but you don't talk about that, right? You're not talking about what's actually a big problem in the black community. A big problem in the black community isn't a black person being killed by a white person. That isn't a big problem. What is a big problem is a black person being killed by another black person. But you care so much more when a black person dies by the hands of a white man. That's when you care. But when they die when a child, a woman, right, a man is killed by another black person, you don't care. That is uneven outrage. And you control your own media, right? No white man is telling you what to put out. You do it yourself. Yeah, this is what kind of shit you want to push out. The stupidity of it. Okay, a black person hanging with a bunch of white person, automatically you knew what's going to happen. So by statistically, shouldn't you know the same thing when a black person hangs with a bunch of black person? Because they get killed more when they hang out with black people than they do with white people. But no. You ain't gonna talk about that shit because that's gonna ruin your narrative, right? This is the propaganda we must fight against. Stop judging people based on their skin tone. Judge people based on their character. I said this in the beginning. If these white people, right, did something dirty, they should be held accountable, but not because they're white, because they are criminal. If they did something terrible, justice should be served. I don't give a shit if they're black, white, yellow, what fucking ever. I don't care. Not about their skin tone, about their deed, about their character. That is how we should view it. We have a two justice outrage system in the black community. Black people killed by white people up here. Black people killed by black people down here. Crickets. You don't hear about it. You hear about it when you're talking on the dinner table, right? You don't hear it when you create videos, when you create content. That is the problem.
Swimming, group of white people, one black person, that black person ain't making it alive. You go anywhere with white people and there's one black person, that black person isn't making it out alive.
That is not statistically true. That is not statistically true.
To teach our kids who the real enemy is. And I remember talking about this. It's not a matter of saying who.
Teach our kids who the enemy is. Imagine this, right? Imagine if a white man did this, or imagine if it's a white family did this. We got to teach our kids who the enemy is. We got to teach our kids the black people are the enemy. Do you know that racism isn't, you weren't born racist? It is taught, right? Exhibit A. This whole fucking show is racist as shit. I'm just seeing this a little bit, and this is the racist as shit. All right. We need to teach black kids the enemy is the white man. Imagine if this shit is in reverse. We need to teach white kids the black man is the enemy. You see how this shit is? You see this shit? You see the insanity where, like, no wonder you guys are fighting each other. No wonder you cannot break the shackle. No wonder you cannot break the generational curse. Because of shit like this. You can never break the generational curse.
Who is an enemy where you want to go to war. It's just a matter of knowing who has your best interest. Anyone who does not have your best interest is an enemy. We've seen this story over and over again, just not even a week ago.
Yeah, I could say I could agree with that. But it doesn't mean that if they're a white person, they don't have your best interest, or a black person. It just means that if they don't have your best interest, period. But yet we must think about the race.
What is it, 2-3 weeks ago, there was a black boy who his white friends left him, knowing he couldn't swim, left him to drown, and was talking about his incarcerated father. You get what I'm saying?
I think I know what she's talking about, right? I think I just saw a video. Guess who saved him? That black boy. I'm assuming if she's talking about the same video that I'm thinking about, guess who saved him? A white family. So it's not about the race of the color. It's not the race of the person, right? It's not the skin tone of the person. It's the character. Oh, that's so crazy, isn't it? That's so crazy. The character? Whoever thought about that shit?
Yes. So when we talk about these stories and I'm hearing them,
you see this? If we're talking about the same thing, you see how disingenuous a stupid bitch like this is? Do you see how disingenuous this woman is? If we're talking about the same thing, the same video, right? That black boy who was left to the side, right, in the water by his white friends was then saved, was then helped by a white family, right? A mother, a father, and 2 kids. That's the video I've seen, right? I'm going to upload that video. So, you see the disingenuousness? She's trying to push a kind of narrative, right? White versus black. Instead of, you know what? Good character versus bad character. That's what you should push out. So you see the problem? This is pure racism right here. Because imagine, this is the problem where you can never think, what if this was like, what was this was reversed? What if this was white people saying this shit? Would you not think it's racist? If this is white people saying it and you think it's racist, you should think it's the same thing when it's black people saying it. This is disgusting shit.
Over and over when we're hearing all these names, Nolan and so on and so forth, all I can say is we need to focus on the resolve. I'm so tired of them playing with our emotions. Literally in this case, not only did all the friends say that they don't know what happened, but one of those friends of his mother is a judge. And I'm going to leave it at there. And I'll tell you guys, let me ask you, what do you think the end of this is going to be?
Well, at the end of the day, this is giving Netflix series. This is exactly what Netflix has been showing over and over and over again. Stories just like this. Children go out, children have a great time. There's one child within that group that maybe someone of the group doesn't like or the whole group doesn't like. And all of a sudden, these were best friends, but they never were really best friends. You just wanted to fit in and you went out with them and now you are no longer in existence. While these 3 have concocted an entire story of what really happened. And the first thing a child says to do is, I don't remember what happened. That's children. They're taught that. Right. And it's just children. So at the end of the day, I really do.
Just children. Didn't that bitch just literally say that we should teach our kids that these people are evil? I've said this before. There's no moral high ground. You have no moral high ground. When given the power, you would do the same thing. You literally, out of your stupid fucking mouth, said that I would teach my kids these people are evil. You have no more high ground to stand on.
Born for his mother, because I know no parent wants to ever have that moment where you cannot find your child. I can't go 5 minutes without either texting my daughter, where you at, knowing I still have Life 360, trying to figure out where you are at all times when I know that she is not home with me. Or he, because I have multiple. But it's so sad to see that this has happened over and over and over again. And let's be quite honest, Horn Island was known as a no black person's island.
Yep.
So now it has turned into this entire place of, oh, let's go to the beach, let's have a great time. When people really still don't even know the history of the places that they're going.
I'm glad you brought up the history, because I wanted to get into what is the history of this Horn Island. It's Mississippi. I mean, what else would we think? But I think part of the issue is as well, historically, this is what we have learned over and over and over again. This is what we've been taught. This is what we have been indoctrinated in, that when it's a group of white boys, specifically or white girls, well, the black girl, which is the one, is not going to be safe or unalive. And unfortunately,
You like it? It was I got it recently at the last convention I went to, right? I took my daughter to the Philadelphia convention, and I had to continue. This is the same brand of mug of my other mugs, right? It's expensive ass mug. This is an expensive ass mug. $70. I really didn't want to buy it, but it's a tradition, right? If I go to this convention, I always buy a mug, so I was like, hell with it, whatever. I'll pay it, but it's a big ass mug, right? That shit is big. Well, I can't stand them anymore. I'm sorry. These people are unbearable. I just showed you a little bit. I was hoping Zyrex would come up, but it seems like she's busy. That's it. I can't stand these people, right? They're just gonna spew more racist ass shit, right? They're literally what I'm talking about, right? Shackled to history. Again, I don't mean that we shouldn't learn about history. Yes, we should, so we don't repeat it. The problem is this shit like this is you're shackled to it because you don't move on from history, right? You still think that if you still think that history will repeat, insufferable. She's insufferable. So I'm tired of shit like this. Guys, that is it. That is it for tonight. Spider, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for coming up. I was hoping if anyone more came up, but Butterfly, thank you. You are an amazing goddess, right? You're an amazing goddess. Thank you for giving a pushback, because I love the back and forth, right? I respect anyone, whether you disagree or agree. I respect everyone, right? So, but yes, please, right? Every Wednesday is a call-in show. If you disagree, if you want to voice your opinions on anything, right? Please come up, right? So I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys for being here. But yes, every Wednesday is a call-in show. It is your chance to, if you have a disagreement, if you have an opposing opinion, or if you even if you want to express a similar opinion, whatever, right? If you want to show your support, say that you think the same, whatever, I'm down, right? So I love it, right? So that is it for tonight. You guys are amazing. I love you. Later, guys. Red Door, Evil Eddie, Spider, Machiavelli, anyone else? Zyrax, thank you for being Laughing Man, Ethiopia, right? You guys are amazing.